Evaluation question 4 is, how does your product represent different social groups? I'm going to be discussing that throughout this video. The different social groups that I feel that I've represented and connected with throughout the construction of my media product, my R&B hip hop magazine Trill, I think has definitely been more orientated at males. I feel this way because I feel the image is of a female, and men would connect with this a bit more. They would find it possibly a bit alluring from the poses and the that angle that the camera is on like the front cover, and I feel that that immediate image would attract more males. I also think that the black and the red colours would attract more of a male audience than a female audience, because I know it does represent the music genre, black and red, and the girl in the front, but I do feel that girls would prefer to see something slightly different, maybe a male artist that they're familiar with and could find attractive, or a female artist that wasn't posed in such a provocative way. So that's why I think the main gender that I've connected with through the front cover of the magazine definitely would be males. But then you can also look at the female aspect of the females aspiring to be the like dressed in a similar way to the cover artist, or they may agree with the different fashion that the artist is wearing. So I definitely think there is room for females there, and they would connect a lot with the cover as well as males. I think that the social groups that I've represented or connected with would be the ones that listen to the R&B and hip hop genre, and stereotypically, I think this is more of a younger audience, definitely. I think 17 and 25, between those ages, is the appropriate audience. So I think I've connected with that social group. Then obviously ethnicity, I know that it's the artists are more there's more black artists in the hip hop and R&B music industry than white artists, so this can easily be reflected on the readers and listeners of the genre. So I mean, it's definitely, I think I'm definitely connecting with the black ethnicities, but then again, you can say a lot of different ethnicities do listen to similar music, and especially younger people. So yeah, between the 17 and 25 age group, there's lots of ethnicities and cultures that are familiar with the R&B and hip hop music genre. So I'm definitely not excluding any other cultures. I wouldn't say I haven't not targeted or not interacted with a different culture more than another. It's just that if you're looking at stereotypically, then yeah, black people are definitely produce and make this kind of music a lot more, and therefore they do listen to this music a lot more. It's hard because you don't want to get into stereotyping people. People can be completely different from the outside through to the inside. They may look a completely different way and enjoy listening to completely different music genres than people like me or themselves looking at other people would expect, which is really difficult when you're trying to identify who would actually buy the magazine. I would say that middle class people lower class or middle class would listen to the R&B genres. Lower and middle class, possibly some upper class people would listen and therefore buy this type of genre. I mean, the image portrayed, I'd say that's like middle class. But then obviously I'm focusing one of my main foci for the magazine was culture and fashion, like underneath the music. So I mean those aspects could be higher class, definitely. I mean, it just depends which way you look at it, and it depends what people are actually interested in. But yeah, there's some aspects like the musicians, Kanye West and Jay-Z, who have definitely been to college educated. They definitely respect that what the gift that they have of creating music, and I think they definitely work with that, and show that they respect it by the different clothes that they wear. You always see Kanye West wearing fur coats and very fashion orientated. So I mean, I would say yeah, it's hard to draw a fine line between what kind of class of people would actually buy and read this magazine, and then you could look at if they could afford to as well. I mean, the incomes you've got. If you're on a lower income, obviously £3.50 is going to be a lot more money to spend to you. It's going to feel like a lot more than if you're on a higher income, and the money wouldn't, when you pay out the money, it's not going to seem like something in the back of your mind. Can I afford this or can't I afford this? I mean, it's all down to personal taste. If one day the audience didn't recognise someone on the magazine cover or that looked like they were featured, they might think, actually, no, this week I'm not going to buy it. I can't afford it at the moment, and there's not really like a great interest I feel like I'd be missing out on if I didn't buy it this week. So there's different things that you can definitely think about. Okay, so the social groups I'd say I might be excluding would be people that were not interested in the music, but that's obvious for obvious reasons. If they weren't interested in that music, then they wouldn't want to buy the hip hop and R&B genre magazine. I'd say people that weren't interested in that sort of music would be people who have different interests, enjoy doing different kind of stuff in their free time. It's very hard to classify what different kind of social groups do and how they have like spare time to how they take up their spare time. I would say that I'm excluding women more than men in this issue because of the female on the front. I would say normally you would exclude more characters who are, or people who are of a white ethnicity, or other than people who are not black. I would say that would be excluding, but as the cover image and the images that I used are actually of a white female, then I would say we're actually getting into that group. It shows that there can be a diversity between artists and listeners of that genre. It doesn't have to be black youths, it can be sophisticated ladies, could be a lot of different people. And I think by putting a white female on the front and putting it into the hip hop and R&B genre, I feel that I've kind of broken a stereotype and gone into a social group that wouldn't normally be shown on the front cover of a hip hop and R&B magazine. So I feel like that's good. Yeah, and I've represented that quite well. Definitely in the future, what I would want to do is feature more a lot of different ethnicities. Like I've said, the focus for my magazine is obviously the hip hop and R&B music genre. So that's the artist's perspective and how the artist feels, interviews, merchandise, that kind of stuff. But then obviously the second foci, I wanted to be fashion and culture. So I think definitely having a lot of different cultures on the magazine is very important. And I mean, as many different ethnicities and cultures that I could get to feature in Trill magazine would be absolutely excellent. I feel that's a very important and valid point to do that. Also, in the future, um, seeing women in a different light, seeing them not presented as um, with sexual connotations for men. I think having them kind of like a woman's strong, like united, I know it sounds stupid, but that kind of thing would definitely break some normal conventions that you might see in a hip hop and R&B genre magazine. So, I mean, I think really including as many cultures, ethnicities, sexualities as possible is really vital, to be honest, especially for the focuses of my magazine. So that would be good. But then obviously you've got to have a limit. You can't include everyone in the magazine because otherwise it will just get lost. You wouldn't know which direction you were going in. You wouldn't know kind of how you're dealing with situations. You wouldn't know who to put on the cover or who that you're trying to. You wouldn't know your audience if you try and get in touch with every single social group that is out of this world, then you're not going to know which direction you're going to go in, and you're going to get lost, and the magazine is going to develop into something completely different than the main focuses that were set up to begin with, which is what Trill was about. So there has to be a limit with all. I mean, you want to you want to get as many social groups involved as you can in some states, but then you don't want to go too far the other way because it's just not going to be physically possible to get it to work and benefit. Okay, so that's how I feel about different social groups, the audience, representations that I've connected with throughout the construction of my magazine and the planning and research. So overall, I think I've made some valid points, and you've always got to look at it from both perspectives. If you don't, then it's just not physically possible for your magazine to get going. So I think, yeah, I've covered quite a lot. So that was evaluation question 4. Thank you.